I'm here with some homeowners in Milwaukee, and we're looking at this old house, and it has some pretty cool features on it. Obviously, it has a very steep pitch. It looks like it's about a 18-12 pitch. That means 18 feet of height for every 12 feet of run. So it's actually steeper than it is long. But it very rarely do we see this characteristic here, which is a kind of this swoop. It's kind of a cool, beautiful feature, but it's very difficult to roof. Also, you have issues here where you've got a cracked sill, and I'm going to show you why that is. If you look here, you've got a steep roof, and by the way, you have an older home. Your home here is, I would say, it's over 100 years old, right? 1931. Okay. So, and I mean, it's a great neighborhood, you know, so, and it's a really cool looking house. And these features are not something that many people have, but there's certain things here that you should know about. This piece of trim right here, sometimes are referred to this as the Milwaukee hide. Okay. This piece of brown trim. So here's your actual fascia. Here's where it ends. So here's where your roof decking would end. This piece of trim, this Milwaukee hide as I refer to it, is simply hiding additional layers of shingles. So we've actually got about 1.5 inches of shingles in that area. The amount of weight that your house has being pushed on it is fairly ridiculous because of that. Now I want to point out something else here. You've got a masonry exterior. That's great. It's beautiful. But because you've got a lot of water that's coming, all of the water from this hole, both sides of these roofs, hits this gutter and then kind of spills over into this downspout, and then it hits this little area right here, and it travels along the wall. So this step flashing, which is shaped like an L, it goes up the wall and it goes underneath the shingles, and that's supposed to help to make it so that things don't get behind it. It's actually a two-part system. There is a piece of flashing that's underneath it shaped like an L, but then there's this top piece, which the top piece is what you're actually seeing here. And that they ground into the brick, and then they made this step, and then they like this, and then that sits over it. Now you can actually see it right here. So this is a perfect example of what it is, but the original one, or the bottom part of the step flashing, is actually underneath my hand here. Okay, so that's the part that's like this. What you're seeing is the part that's more like that. Sorry, like that. Okay, so what happens here is all the water comes down and it flows down, but what's happening is it's pushing this way. So if we put a level on this section of the roof, it's actually sloped toward your house. And when we get to this point, then this is actually flat. You never want to have a true flat area on a shingled roof. It just never works well. But what happened here is that the wood underneath there actually ended up rotting away. So what would have to happen here is you can't just repair this. You really have to take up all of these layers, and it looks like you probably have 4 layers of roof. We can rip off the Milwaukee hide here. The Milwaukee hide is not going to be something that's going to be on the roof in the end anyway. There will probably be a proper drip edge flashing, but it's not anything to hide additional layers. Now I'll tell you this, it's kind of interesting. This is, historically speaking, this is a very blue collar area. So people did what they had to do. You know, there was a lot of people around here worked for Laddish, Alan Bradley, Patrick Cudahy, and you know, the income wasn't there. So oftentimes they would just put layers on top of it. And it was legit went back when it was three tap shingles to go up to 3 layers, but it's not anymore because today's modern shingles, which is what you see, they're actually a double laminate, so they weigh more. So what's happened here, because you have this collapse of the structure underneath it, you don't have anything for the decking to sit on. You have no structural basis in which to support it from the underside. So that's why this is collapsed in. Consequently, I want to point this out. Take a look at the sill over here. You'll see that the sill is cracked. So you have some issues structurally where all of this brick, the weight of all of this brick is being pushed down, and you see it's actually, it doesn't have anything that it's sitting on in the bottom. So that once this comes off, that's a significant problem. Now, if we back up a little bit, we go out by the into the yard, we can see you can see the little glimmers. It looks like a small amount of you can't really see it on the video, but it looks like almost like glitter on your roof, the little sparkles. Okay, that's cool for a Disney film, but not so much in a house. And the reason for that is that a roof is made from 3 different layers. The first layer is a fiberglass weave, and that gives the shingle strength, followed by the asphalt, and that's what keeps the water out. And when it's made, it's kind of gummy. And then the granules are pressed into that, and that's what helps to protect that middle layer. When that asphalt layer starts to dry out over time, this is a 23-year-old roof. Or I should say a 23-year-old layer, right? It's probably close to 100 years worth of layers on there. But this is a 23-year-old layer. When that starts to happen, then you notice when that asphalt starts to dry out, there's nothing to hold on to it. So then you get granules that are sloughing off. And I have to say, in this gutter, you've got over 3 inches of granules in here. So it's basically, and here you can see it right here. Here's a perfect example where the asphalt is showing through. You see how it should, like in this spot, it's a little bit more uniform, better granule coverage. Over here, there's a fairly excessive amount of granule loss in that area. Very cool. Very good. Do you have any questions?
No, you've been really thorough.
Yeah. Thank you. Here's a perfect example of excessive granule loss. Now, parts of these shingles, more especially on the top, are messed up, but take a look at this. This gutter is about 3/4 full of granules, but half full over here. Just going to show you something. Look at that. Full of granules. That's a whole lot of granules. Now, why do I do that? Why do I show the excessive amount of granule loss? Well, that's because the granules are what's necessary to hold to make sure that you don't destroy the asphalt. The UV rays naturally will destroy the asphalt. The asphalt is the middle layer, and that's what keeps the water out of your house. You lose your granules, you lose your protection for this middle layer. So when this part goes away up here, this part ends up breaking down, becomes brittle, washes away in your downspout, and then you have no protection.